Hey, this is Ramon, channel is Alpha 4, and today we're going to be talking about Epictetus, his problem with assumptions and preconceptions. When it comes to presumptions and assumptions and preconceptions, the problem is not the prejudice that represents. Instead, to him, the problem comes from when you apply a general rule to a specific situation, or you apply a specific rule to a general situation. You're overcomplicating the truth, or you're simplifying the truth. And once you either overcomplicate it or simplify it, you're no longer speaking of the truth. Instead, you're speaking of an aspect of, or a version of. And that's where relativity comes in. So here's an example of this. Let's take a real life question. Is pork bad for you? Or you can even ask, is it wrong to eat pork? Well, see, the problem is, and there's a big problem here, depending on your assumptions, the answer will be different. And the relativity here stands for more than just faith or more than just your personal health. The question of the efficacy of the treatment of the animal. It can be whether or not you personally have high cholesterol or don't. There are so many factors. Each factor changes the answer to the question. That's the problem with relativity. So this application, or rather misapplication, of facts changes the accuracy of your preconceived notions. And this problem with prejudice, with assumptions and preconceptions and presuppositions, the problem here is that it shows the flaw in intuition, in that gut feeling that you get. It's not always accurate. See, every assumption could be right or wrong. It's a 50-50 shot with each assumption. But there are so many assumptions that the numbers start to get down to maybe 1% chance of being correct. It's like a multiple choice test. The more answers there are, the less likely your guess is correct. But the problem doesn't come in your answer being wrong or right. That's not the problem. The problem actually comes in conflict. The true problem happens when two conflicting contradictions collide. In a single mind, that may express itself as madness. Between two people in a disagreement. And between two cultures, two nations, especially two groups that are competing against each other, that could express itself in war. The reason for Epictetus's conclusion that the problem is not the prejudice itself, but that different people have different prejudices, is that if you can get everyone to agree what the facts are, regardless of whether it's true or false, if they agree on their prejudices, you can have peace. It's when they disagree that you have conflict. And then that in turn begs the question, what is more important, peace or truth? If peace is more important, then it doesn't matter if everything that everyone agrees on, or that the majority agrees on, is a lie. All that matters is that there's consensus. On the other hand, if what matters is truth, then it doesn't matter if there's peace. If the greater good is the truth, then you have to speak the truth regardless of the consequences. See? So if you put your value within your power of choice, then the truth becomes the more important thing. But if you put your value in the external, then peace becomes the more important thing, because peace will get you stability. So for Epictetus, your right or wrong moral actions contain more value than your assumptions or prejudices. Your moral actions have more value than your motives. For Epictetus here, the conclusion that he comes to is that what you do, what you choose, matters more than what you assume. And therefore, it is more real. Your actions are more real than your prejudices. Your actions are more real than your assumptions. Your actions are more real than your ideas, than your thoughts, than your opinions. The actions are the thing that expresses reality, not your conception or your perception of it. So perception here doesn't matter, only the actuality. That is Epictetus' discourse on assumptions and preconceptions. And this was Discourse 1.22. Peace, like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy this series.